The bird does not have to pay for the space it uses to exist and to raise a family. None of any of the millions of living forms have to pay rent or to pay another for their needed space to exist except for the human. Why is it that the human organism has to pay another for the usage of space in order to exist? The argument is that the land belongs to human beings who own it. How is it that a human being can own something that has been in existence far longer than the human species or even any of the millions of varying species of life that exist on this planet? Which according to science is one of quintillions that exist in this tiny galaxy in the middle of an ever-expansive creation/multiverse, for which science with all its sophistication still cannot definitively explain the true size of such a creation we find ourselves a part of. So why can or even how can a human being claim ownership of something that is the very matrix from which life on this planet has emerged? I am in the realization that the humans are under a great illness, and this idea of land ownership is the only and underlying symptom of this great illness of the heart and mind, which shuts off the logical and has been replaced with the illogical. And to use the non-human reality as an example, such as the fact that all life forms don't have to pay for sustenance or space to exist. Yet we can easily see that the human being has stores, money, greed, poverty, homelessness, hardship and strife. And a great sad truth that the human is living a self-perpetuated life, which is called civilization or assimilation into the artificial, passed off as ordinary or natural existence. But the creation/multiverse was not created to have stores, money and the light of land or space ownership. The earth is our home. We have no other place to go. We all are born out of the choice of others to bring us into being. We all need space to exist. All life forms are born due to the opportunity to exist, which is the prerequisite of existence. As existence does not manifest unless there is a platform for it to manifest into, one which will assure its existence, such as is our life and all living forms in all of the infinite creation, created to sustain itself through effort, not costing the sum of money, which has no reality in the multiverse of created living forms and our environment. So why would we suddenly find ourselves in such a situation where we are slaves to our very existence, as our current existence does not allow our own freedom to exist? Unless we are sustaining the well-being of others, to refuse to participate in the game of life according to the rule of free will and self-determination, which are the very basic rules that all living forms seem to appear as if they are doing just the very thing. They exist by their own means, by their own effort to look for food, to build a shelter, to raise a family, to play the game of life as a living form, which exists and flourishes solely because it duplicates itself and absorbs sustenance from its surroundings, and such as life is that. So what a very sad situation we find ourselves in as this organism that somehow has transcended the game of life and replaced it with the artificial. We humans have been conditioned artificially to accept the idea that paying and working our lives away for another's well-being is the way for an organism to exist, in this constant servitude and toiling our lives away so that we can only dream of true freedom and self-determinacy. Not working to directly sustain ourselves, but to work for a token which makes us a slave because we cannot grow our food anymore. We cannot just build a house anywhere we want, such as the bird builds its nest anywhere it wants to. But the human being is forced to live in a reality that contradicts the natural and replaces it with money and greed and the opportunity for laziness and enslavement or conscription, where our lives have no meaning but to sustain and to fill the pockets of others who have somehow, or it appears that they have somehow, reached the state of privilege or that of godliness. These so-called elevated ones are the ones whom we all work our lives away to sustain. We are not meant to be slaves in this living and self-aware form. Our existence is not to pay for our needed space and food. We, just like all living forms, have everything we need all around us, and in order to exist and be sustained, we must gather, build and use what is all around us. And so we can see the only cost is effort and the work it took to obtain the objective of existence, just as all living forms participate in and practice as the very operating system of life. We have come here not to be a slave to another, which we must serve or die trying to be a free and sovereign entity.